A warm welcome to Disky Talk with Liolo. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I do ask that you please subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you have been a part of this journey, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this episode. So, on today's episode, I discuss all things Kaizer Chiefs as I have a special feature-focused episode where I focus on Njabulo Blom. So, the big question then on everybody's mind is he a better right back or a better defensive midfielder? So, on today's episode then, I'm going to have a look at it then from both sides of the coin. Njabulo Blom then, when we have a look at him as a right back. Njabulo Blom then is a very good player and a player then who is rapidly becoming a very, very important player for Kaizer Chiefs. So he has mostly played during this season as a right back. And what I like about him then when he does play as a right back is that he is very, very solid in 1v1 situations. This is a player then who is very, very difficult to beat in 1v1 situations and a player then who reads the game very well. And whenever then he finds himself in defensive situations, he is well adept when it comes then to ensuring that his body then is orientated adequately and he has positioned himself adequately as well. And this is a player then who hardly ever gets caught out for pace as well, and he reads the game very well. And on the ball then, he does then really help Kaizer Chiefs on the right hand side to advance the ball from deep pockets of spaces, and a player then who is comfortable on the ball. However, the weakness then that Njabulo Blom has when it comes then to playing as a right back is that he has struggled then whenever he has given Kaizer Chiefs that width and he's had to deliver a ball into the box. So his delivery at times hasn't been consistent and hasn't been the best. We did see that in the beginning of the season, he was delivering good balls. However, as the season progressed, he was then struggling then to refine his delivery and consistently then be able to pick out a man within the box. So I would say then that that's his one flaw when he plays as a right back, and sometimes then decision making whenever he is high and wide within vertical zone 5 on the right hand side, Otherwise, he is a very, very solid right back, and I think that he is the best right back in South Africa and the best right back at Kaizer Chiefs. However, we also do know then that he has played as a defensive midfielder. So then when we have a look at Njabulo Blom as a defensive midfielder. So currently then when you have a look at Kaizer Chiefs, they don't really have a defensive midfielder. Hence why then they've had to play Njabulo Blom as a defensive midfielder. However, I feel like Njabulo Blom has really struggled as a defensive midfielder and he's been inconsistent. So there are a couple of performances where he was good, but then there are performances where he was very, very poor in my opinion, especially then when you look at his body orientation within the heart of midfield, when you look at his positioning and his decision making as well. It becomes very clear if you focus on Njabulo Blom that he's not a defensive midfielder, but he is a centre back. And currently then, if Kaizer Chiefs are to address that position, I think the best option is Njabulo Blom, because when you have a look at it, as much as he's the best right back at Kaizer Chiefs, he is also then the best defensive midfielder at Kaizer Chiefs within the present moment. However, let's look at Njabulo Blom then within a formation or within a system. So when he has then played as a defensive midfielder, he has then played in the 3-4-3 system. And what I do like about Njabulo Blom as a defensive midfielder is that he's also then well adept at ensuring that he progresses the ball. He's also then well adept at finding that pass then in those tight pocket spaces and being able then to also then himself advance forward and be able then to make an impact, as we did see against Maritzburg United, where he did push up and he was able then to get that assist for Kaizer Chiefs, and against Sekhukhune, where he picks up the ball within vertical zone 3, within the heart of midfield. He gets the ball in that pocket of space, and Ngezane then was available there, and then there was Nkosi Ngobo there, and when you have a look at it, Nkosi Ngobo popped up into that half space. And what I like then about Blom here is that a lot of midfielders in this situation could easily go sideways to Ngezan and play the safe pass. But Njabulo Blom doesn't do that. He opts then to play a very penetrative pass where then he finds Unkosimpile Ngobo in that half space, in between the lines where he takes it, and then he finishes off really well. And that then shows me that he is a progressive thinking midfielder within the heart of midfield. And as a defensive midfielder, he is then a player then who can also get play started for Kaizer Chiefs and even in those deep pockets of spaces. So when you do have a look then at Njabulo Blom, this is clearly then a player who is extremely talented and very versatile by virtue of the fact that I think he's equally good at right back and at defensive midfield position. However, when we then have a look at Njabulo Blom and we have a look at the system. So when he has played within the heart of midfield, it's been mostly when Kaizer Chiefs play the 3-4-3 system, which then I think he's better suited as playing as a defensive midfielder within this 3-4-3 system. And the reason why then I say that is because when you have a look at Njabulo Blom and his situation at Kaizer Chiefs, you know, it's a situation then which affects other positions as well, you know, and that's why then whenever they've played a 3-4-3 like this, you'll most likely have Frosla playing as the right wing back, and then Njabulo Blom would then play as the defensive midfielder. This then would then allow and predicate for Frosla then to push further forward and offer that width for Kaizer Chiefs within the right-hand side, as that's what he likes doing. He likes venturing forward. And I think then Njabulo Blom has been very good within this system as a defensive midfielder. But then when he's played as a right back, it's been within a 4-3-3. So what's then very interesting is then going into the second round of the season, where then will Stuart Baxter look to use him? And if you have a look at Kaizer Chiefs, I think they really struggle within the heart of midfield, and at times they're not very solid, hence why they've conceded so many goals this season. So I then would be looking at playing Njabulo Blom as a defensive midfielder for the rest of the season, as I just feel that he's the best suited within Kaizer Chiefs to play that role, and until Kaizer Chiefs then go out and sign a defensive midfielder and address that issue. And once then they bring a quality defensive midfielder, Blom then can return to right back. So this is then a very important player for Kaizer Chiefs, and equally good then at playing as a right back and as a defensive midfielder. However, I do know that many may disagree. So at home, do let me know, what do you make of Njabulo Blom's season so far and his importance within this Kaizer Chiefs side? Do you see him as a defensive midfielder, or do you see him as a right back, or do you think that he's equally good at both and he can contribute for Kaizer Chiefs in both positions? I think he can. However, at some point, it's going to become very, very important that he nails down a position, be it either as a defensive midfielder or a right back. But I feel then his best position going forward would then be at right back, where then he's able to focus on one position and be able then to grow within that position. Because you don't want a case where then he becomes a utility player and then he doesn't master a position. We've seen the talent, we've seen the ability, either at right back or within the heart of midfield. But at some point, I just feel like he should then the coaches should then nail him down in one position, and he should look to grow in that position. However, like I've mentioned, because then Kaizer Chiefs didn't address the issue of a defensive midfielder, they will then have to look towards playing Blom within the heart of midfield, because I think is the best option. He's comfortable on the ball. He can start play for Kaizer Chiefs in deep pockets of spaces. He can progress the ball for Kaizer Chiefs as well. And he's also then got the engine to burst forward and look then to make an impact whenever then he does look then to break forward. So he has had a couple of assists within the heart of midfield, and he did get that one assist as a right back. So this is a player then who is then becoming a very complete footballer. Defensively, he's very sound. He's improving on the ball, and also then able then to play very good passes. He's also then starting to contribute with assists as well. However, do let me know at home, what do you make of Njabulo Blom? So thank you very much for tuning in to yet another special episode of Disky Talk with Luyolo. Signing out.